Have you learned English but sometimes get stuck and lose confidence? This is a normal feeling, and in this video, you'll learn how to get unstuck and feel more comfortable speaking to anyone in English. I learned so much from my students through my online program called Pronunciation Pro. And as I've worked with thousands of students through my program, there are so many of the same situations that come up over and over again. And that is this feeling of feeling stuck when it comes to speaking English. Now, specifically, let's talk about one of my students, Dodzy, and he lives up in Quebec, Canada. His native language is French, and he's a very accomplished leader. He is an author, he's written books, and you would never really think that he would have trouble with his confidence, but he had definitely opened up and shared some of the fears that he has as a native English speaker. And as we've worked through the program, we've been able to really help him get unstuck from this. So I'll tell you more about Dodzy here at the end. If you're in a similar situation and you're feeling stuck, just know that it is completely normal to feel stuck sometimes. Your human brain is picking up on all kinds of cues from your environment. If your brain feels like it is unsafe or feeling threatened in any way, then it's going to react in a way that leads you to run away from a situation instead of going to the situation. But sometimes the brain is wrong. Sometimes it feels threatened when really there is just no real threat there. You're not actually in danger. So how do you retrain the brain so that instead of running away from speaking situations or your brain shutting down when you go to speak with native English speakers, how can you retrain your brain to be able to get unstuck and be able to keep speaking fluently? Here are some tips. All right, first, take a deep breath. Breathing helps you check in with your mind and your body. Okay? It flushes out some of those nerves. So if you go into a speaking situation, you are, speaking with native English speakers and your mind just goes blank. Start by just taking a deep breath. And even try it right now. Just feel how cleansing it is to take that deep breath and just flush all of that emotion out of you. It really helps you check in with your body and mind, and it's really kind of a reset button in your mind, okay? So as you do that, you get into this stuck situation, flush it out. Okay, the next tip is assess the situation with your thinking brain. So what's happening when you get stuck is your reptilian brain, your caveman brain, if you want to call it that, has kind of hijacked your brain. It's flooding all these emotions into your brain. And we really have to kind of take a deep breath, calm it, and activate that thinking brain. You have a choice in this situation. Your reactive brain is what's causing you to feel stuck, and because it wants you to get away. But you're an evolved human. You can think for yourself, okay? Is this environment safe? Is there a real threat if I speak up and if I speak speak English in this situation? Or will I be okay? Even if I do make mistakes, even if I do have an accent or I'm not as fluent as I maybe want to be, will that be okay? Usually the answer is, yeah, I'm gonna be okay. Maybe people will judge me, maybe there'll be some of that, but that's okay. Mistakes are proof that you're trying. The next tip, and this follows into my next tip, bring back your personal power. Okay, so you are in fact safe usually in these speaking situations. So make sure your brain knows this through deliberate thoughts. I am safe. It's okay for me to speak here. It's okay for me to make mistakes while speaking English. I cannot control other people and their judgment and whether they're going to think poorly of me or not, but I can control me and how I show up in this situation. Okay, I want to be me. And this really just reminds me of a student of mine, Muhammad, and he was telling me that there was a time that he just felt a lot of prejudice against him. He was living in the United States, and he was feeling a lot of this prejudice from other people. and that he was being judged for who he is and where he's from. You know, he gave an experience of like going to something as simple as going shopping at a grocery store and just feeling kind of the eyes and the judgment from others. And so he would keep his eyes down. He wouldn't speak very, very much to other people. And he just kind of showed up in this way that made him feel less than. So as I was talking with him and he was sharing kind of some of this pain that comes along with kind of feeling this way, we talked through just like, okay, who do you want to be in this situation? Because Muhammad was a very outgoing, very knowledgeable, very fun and friendly personality. But when he was going about, you know, his life, he was masking that. He was hiding that side of him. And I said, well, what would happen if you showed up as your authentic self? If you let go of the judgment and prejudice of others and just smiled and just made eye contact and just chatted it up with people at the grocery store, it would significantly help. And he came back and he said, you know what, I tried that and it actually was great because, you know, that feeling of judgment really kind of melted away as I just showed up as myself. I felt good about how I was showing up, and as I was more secure about who I was, it helped other people around me feel more calm around me. Okay, they could see that I'm a safe person, and they were able to kind of feel that from him. So I thought that was a really powerful experience of him taking back his personal power and him being able to show that, hey, this is who I am. And others can judge and that's okay, but this is who I am. Okay, the next strategy is to slow down. Okay, if you're feeling stuck, just slow it down. Take a deep breath to help you reset. Slow down your thoughts and your words. And as you do, you'll give your mind time to really recall these thoughts and ideas that you have. The next strategy is turn the focus away from yourself and onto the other person. Okay, how can you help them? So oftentimes we get into our own heads of like, what do they think about me? And, you know, how am I looking to other people? And it's really all about us. But what needs to happen when you get in front of other people and you're speaking is, how can I add value to their lives through what I have to offer? Okay, how can I give to them? What can I do to serve and help them? And when you're in that mentality, it's a different energy. Okay, you get out of your own head and you really focus on this other person. The other person might be feeling nervous and have concerns of their own. So think less of yourself and more about understanding others and what they need from the conversation. Some examples that I have from my students are, you know, some of my students have talked about parent-teacher conferences and how difficult that is for them or could be for them. But let's shift the focus, okay? What if we let the teachers know that, hey, I appreciate you and what you're doing for my child, and help them feel very positive about this interaction, you know, compliment them and make sure that they know that you support them. Okay, maybe in a presentation, you know, put yourself in the shoes of your audience. What do they need from you? You know, when you're listening to a speaker, what do you need from them? What do you want them to add to your life? Okay, so get in the shoes of your listeners. So another example, I've had several pastors in my program, spiritual leaders that lead a congregation, and they, you know, getting into the mindset of their audience, you know, they want to feel close to God. They might be struggling with something, and they've come to, you know, this pastor to help them feel at peace. Okay, so the more that they can kind of forget about, oh, how am I sounding? Am I pronouncing this correctly? You know, just slowing it down, getting out of your own head and focusing on the needs of the congregation. Everyone wants to be understood and feel valued and appreciated. Okay, when you can think less of yourself and think more about your listeners' needs, then you'll be able to provide that value in their lives. So I encourage you to use these tools and these tricks and these concepts as you walk into these English speaking situations and your mind goes blank, or you're feeling stuck, like, I don't know how to really move forward in this conversation. Use some of these tips and tricks and let me know how it goes. Go ahead and comment in the comment section below. I'd love to hear what works for you and what doesn't work for you maybe. And go ahead and check out my next video, Is American English Difficult to Learn?